what we're gonna do here is we're gonna start from scratch. I can actually bring my my shell into view for this. Anything that has to do with the shell, kind of ignore it, I guess. You don't need to. Let me update my thing real quick. Alright, so GitHub. What is GitHub? GitHub is a place where you put the code and it stays up on the internet instead of having to move it between computer and computer, and also helps a lot with versioning, so you can tell that, like, oh, this is on one version and this updated code is on a new version. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make a new repository. We're going to call this like basic HTML, CSS, I guess. Basic stuff. Teaching on stream. Public. We'll initialize this bad boy with a README. We'll create it, and here it is. So you don't really have to follow super along with the PowerShell stuff I'm doing here. I'm just using the CLI or command line interface to go through this. You could totally do this with a you could totally do this with like a Git GUI or something like that. And if you don't even have GitHub, that's fine too. So I'm gonna go to my projects here. I'm in my project. So anything I'm kind of doing here, just imagine I'm kind of doing here. So I'm in my projects. Here's all my folders in my projects: Angular, Webpack, Workflow, blah blah blah. What we're going to do is we're going to clone this thing right here. Clone him so that it's going to bring down whatever is in here into my local file system, right? Yeah, I could do that. I could make a video for rewatching. I mean, it's kind of be technically up on a VOD, but I probably could. I'm not sure if I have the. I could fuck around. I can make it. I can make it worth it. So that's something I could do. All right. So now I have this basic HTML CSS folder from this project right here, right? And if I open up Atom, which is my text editor, if you don't know what a text editor is, it's a glorified Notepad. You've probably used Notepad once in your life, where it's just like, you know, it opens up text files that are UTF-8. So I use Atom. Atom is something that's made by GitHub. So if you go to atom.io, this is all it is a program that allows you to open and edit text files, and well, more than just text files, any file that's like UTF-8. For the most part. So like I use it to look at to edit my code. Some people use Notepad++, some people use an IDE. Like if they're working in Python, they'll use PyCharm. If they're using Ruby, they use RubyMine. VODs work too. Okay, cool. I'll try. If you have any questions, I'm willing to answer them while we go through here. So no problems there. But as far as text editors go, there's a ton out there. You know, there's also like Brackets. Open source code editor. There's also Visual Studio Code, which is also pretty popular here. This is actually built on top of Atom. Fuck, why would you do this to me? I can't call that off the top of my head, man. You kidding me? Integrated Development Environment. I knew DE stood for Development Environment. Integrated Development Environment. I never use the IDEs. So that's what that stands for, IDEs. So what the difference is between like just a regular ass text editor and an IDE is that sometimes IDEs will do more. Like they'll run the code for you and say, hey, this isn't going to work. Or they'll also highlight certain things that say, hey, you created this variable, but it's not being used. That's mostly what IDEs do. But we're using something super simple right here, which is just a text editor, which is just Atom. So Atom is free. You can download it from atom.io if you need a text editor. There's also things like Notepad++, which a lot of people also use. There's also WebStorm, which people use for JavaScript, stuff like that. So before we get that kind of takes care of that. So what we have here, basic HTML and CSS. So I'm gonna kind of paint a small picture right here for you. So when you have a website, when you first hit something that's like you know, Google.com, what happens is that like you have your browser, which is like, you know, let's say you got Chrome here, Oh man, that's bad. You got Chrome here. And you say, all right, bring me google.com. It goes out to the server. This is like Google's servers. And barring all the really complicated details about load balancing and clusters and all that jazz, we're just going to say, all right, here's a server, right? It goes to google.com server, and then google.com server returns an HTML file. Usually HTML files are, when they're at the root, they're called index.html, right? Index.html. And then that gets brought back to the browser, and the browser parses that HTML and then decides what to show you and how to show it to you based on what's in that HTML file. So, here's our index.html. Whenever you're doing an HTML file, usually start with doctype HTML to declare what kind of file type it is. So this is a doc type of HTML. So, and then the next thing is HTML tags, obviously. So, right. And then, right after that, there's also the head. The head is the section of the HTML that helps the browser understand what this website is, what this web page is. So the first tag that's usually inside there is a title tag, right? And a title tag, usually it says something like, this is my website. The place where you see this the most is in this part right here. That's the top of the tab. This actually pulls from the title tag. So I can go ahead and open up, we're going to open this up here. You can see this is my website is right here up on the top of the tab. Because right here in the title tag, this is my website. I could be like, this is my baller website. And there it is. This is my baller website. There's other parts to the tab, like this part right here. This little icon, this is called a favicon, a fav icon. So, this website, as you can see, as I'll type this in right here, resource. This Atom website has a favicon, favicon.ico. And this favicon.ico looks like this. And that's where this tab gets its little icon from, is this favicon. We don't have a favicon right now, so it's just displaying a regular ass, you know, this is a blank page kind of thing. So that's what's happening right there. But the head is also a place where you can link your CSS. So not only does we tell what the title is, but we also do link rel equals style sheet. Style the CSS. Style.css. Alright. Before we get into styles or anything, I'm just going to explain that real quick. Alright. The HTML will tell you what is there. For example, paragraphs, headers, any kind of text. The styles, the CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. The CSS will tell you how those specific things look. So, for example, before we move on, I guess I should also mention, this is the next part of, there's like, some tags are required in HTML, and if they aren't there, then the web browser will fill them in for you. So if I don't have a head tag, it will create a head tag. If I don't have HTML tags, it will create HTML tags. If I don't have body tags, it will create body tags. So the body is basically where the rest of the website goes. Anything that you would actually see on the website goes inside the body tags. So we'll type hello, right? And there it is, hello. Now, if we wanted to style this hello, we could use CSS, Cascading Style Sheets. The reason why it's called cascading is that you could have, you can do a hierarchy to explain like what level you want styles to go down to. The syntax for styles usually goes along like this selects a tag, this selects a class, and this selects an ID. Okie doke. So I'm probably getting ahead of myself here too, but let's start with something simple. All right, H1 tags. H1 is a header. It stands for header 1, which is header type 1, which means it's this big. And then by basis and definition, every browser has base styles. So you look at this guy, it's base styles from the user agent style sheet, which is basically the browser saying this is what it's going to look like by default. It's displayed block, font size of 2M, and the default EM for browsers is 14 pixels. So this is technically font size of 16, so it's basically 32 pixels. And so these are all the styles it gets right off the bat before you even tell it what to look like, right? So there's H1, there's also H2. There's also H2. H2 has a different set of subset styles. So you can see it's smaller. It's only 1.5 M, right? You could also do H3. H3. You move on down to H4. H5. Excuse me. And also H6. And as you can see, all of them have their default styles like in ascending order. So you have like, you know, big, small, down to big. So people use header tags to signify, to tell you exactly what like that like section of content on the page is supposed to be about, you know? So I could have, you know, like this section is about football or some shit, you know? And then right underneath that, I could be like, you know, a bunch of stuff about football. Right. So, might be wondering what these little P things are. That's a paragraph tag. Paragraph tag also comes with its basic styles, including some margins along with it. So there's that. You just come along. There's a P tag. Comes with its own default styles down there as well. Those are kind of the basic tags that most people learn when they first start doing CSS and HTML is header tags and paragraph tags. Now there's also other tags called divs. Now the most common tag that is really ever used is a div. A div tag is like the most generic tag you could ever make. It barely has anything to do with it, right? This div tag right here, you can see it doesn't have margins like this guy. It doesn't have any extra spacing between stuff. So I could put another one right underneath it, and it would look really close together because div tags don't come with default spacing alongside it. You see? Div tags are like the bread and butter of every developer because they're just like a blank slate. I can do whatever the heck I want without having to worry about what base styles are on these things. If I wanted to shift this guy around, if I wanted to style a paragraph tag, I would always have to wonder what those margins are doing and how they're affecting everything else along the hierarchy in the DOM. But these guys, they're just there. So divs are most commonly used over like everything else because they're the most malleable. So that's good. All right, so let's any questions on that kind of stuff? Let me know real quick. I actually am gonna go grab another lemonade. I know this was that was a lot of shit I just kind of threw at you. Got any questions? Type in chat. I'll answer them before I get back. I'm gonna go grab. When I get back, I'm just gonna grab another drink. Alrighty, we're back. Put the floppies away. Alright, so now legit questions for the brief moment I was gone. Cool. Alright. This is also like the most basic shit we can probably get into. Alright, so time to move on to... we could probably talk about block level versus inline level. So, inline level is any text that goes... any elements that position themselves as if they are in line with text. So a good example is the span tag. The span tag does not have the same blockiness that divs have because they're on the inline level. So this will show up down here. So I have I'm going to put two spans right next to each other, just like I put two divs next to each other, and you can see the difference, right? These two act as text, versus these two as inline. These two act as like block level. You see? These two act like text, and there's another couple elements that act like this as well, and that's the image tag. It's a good image. I guess. Actually, it's probably, what, 16? Yeah, 16. Height 16 pixels. What we got here? Images also come in as inline. They are not block level, right? You can see how it's in here along with the text. I could throw another span right after that. It would still be inline. See? So, that's another quick tidbit. Most tags are usually block level. But there are some that are inline level, like these spans and these divs. So, try to keep that in mind. It's not too applicable for most things, but like if you had, let's say you had a whole bunch of text, and then you wanted a link in between that text, be like, bunch of stuff about football. Here's a link to a football thing. And now here's more text that isn't a link. And then in order to do a link in HTML, you use an anchor tag, which is formatted like this. Right, like here is a link to a football thing. href ESPN.com or something, right? Anchor tags also appear inline and not block level. Right? This is how you link to other things. You use an anchor tag. So if I click this will bring me to ESPN.com. Alright, I've got a question. I was golfing from the beginning. But I was listening, don't listen to Sauls. Okay. We kind of just covered like super basic stuff. That there's certain tags like H1 and H2 which attribute for headers. Should probably put these should probably make these more generic and keep these here. Header 1. Header 2. Header 3. Header 5. The first thing I really talked about was headers. So, you remember the header thingies from Code Academy? That's good. I also talked about text editors and IDEs. So, I'll keep these header things so that it's easier to see. But you see these H1 through H6 tags, they all have their own base styles and they all look like different. Here is a bunch of text, and then here's also a link. Links are made by anchor tags. So here's an anchor tag right here that brings you to ESPN.com. You click that, brings you to ESPN.com. To get a real link to actual ESPN.com, we do that. In order to get a link to refresh. In order to get a link to actually go to a new website, ESPN.com doesn't exist. What the hell? It's not HTTPS? You what, mate? I guess they don't have HTTPS. That's weird. Go back. ESPN.com. There's that. So, that is what an anchor tag does. An anchor tag, which is attributed by A, brings you to other places on the internet. So, a lot of people can use them to go to relative URLs. That's kind of nuts to get into at the moment. So, we're going to keep to the simple stuff. I also talked about spans, which are inline level. So, you can see these two spans right together right here. They're next to each other without pushing the other one below it. Unlike these divs right here, which are block level, which will take up the whole space and push the other one below it. Spans, however, will go like right next to each other, along with any other inline element, just like an image tag, which is also inline here with the other two spans. So, that's good to know. What we're also going to do here is we're going to talk about styling. So, when you have these headers and stuff, say for example you don't like how the font looks, right? Now, most browsers, they come with fonts enough to get you started, and you can pretty much use any font that the browser has. So, let's say we want to make all the text on the page look like it is Arial, right? So, you can use the property font-family for that. Family Arial, right? Font family Arial. Then everything's Arial, right? But say for example, I just want header 2's H2 tags and only H2 tags to use Times New Roman. So I can do H2 font family Times New Roman. Put that in single quotes. And there it is. Only this thing right here in H2 is in Times New Roman. So that's how it does. So CSS, like I said before, stands for cascading style sheets. Now I can add different ways to style this thing based on its classes and its IDs. So for example, on this one H2 tag, I can give it a class. And if I give it a class, I can use that class to style it differently. So I can do class equals bold. If I go over here and do dot bold, I can be like font weight bold, which actually makes the font use the bold setting of that font. Oh, I didn't link it. That not work? Am I crazy? I think I'm fucking up here with the style sheets. No, I wasn't before because this is working. Oh, because it's already bold. I'm an idiot. All header tags are bold by default. And I fucked up this shit, didn't I? You can see right here. Oh, fuck, come on. 102. This guy has font weight of bold right here, which is the setting that I put, but it also gets font weight of bold from its style sheet, so that doesn't really help us too much. We'll do something different. So if we want anything with the class of red, we will do color red. We'll give this the class of red. So if it has a class, it will turn it red. And now classes can be used between multiple. Can you try creating with basic Node.js? This unfortunately has nothing to do with JavaScript. We're not going to be doing like any JavaScript type stuff. However, I do a whole bunch of Node.js type stuff, including the notifications that I just started making with Node.js, and they're all up on. It's all up there on my GitHub. But yeah, I mean, if you wanna come back another time. I'm usually streaming with any kind of with Node.js in particular. So, what you can try create. Oh, okay. What you can try creating as like a step one, like if you wanted to try something out with Node. You know what's something that's super simple is making a Twitch IRC bot, which isn't pretty hard at all. If you look up the TMI.js package, which is this guy, this is a Node.js library that you can use to go into the chat, into Twitch chat. You could go into my chat right here that you're speaking in, and like you connect to examples. See, like you pass in. Oh, that's a fucking other thing. Configuration. That's what I was looking for. This is a Node.js package that allows you to go into. You tried Discord? Yeah, Discord's another thing because it also uses like sockets and stuff like that. I want to say Twitch is more simple because it's just like listening to events and doing stuff and chatting back. So this is kind of my first. Using this was kind of like my first journey into using Node.js. I did do stuff like this first. I did make a really easy chatbot. But doing something like this in Node isn't very hard at all. You get TMI.js, you pass in the features, you say, I wanted to join, hash the Lanzolini, and here's my username and password, and then you're off to the races from there. It's actually a pretty simple way to start with Node.js. But unfortunately, that's what our stream is about right now, so we're going to go away from that, and we're going to talk more about style sheets and styles. So, where were we? Anything, classes can be used, can and should be used for multiple tags. So, for example, I could put class equals red on this header 6 tag, and it's also red, as you can see right here. Now, IDs are different. IDs look like this. So I can do ID equals best header. This is an ID. IDs are supposed to attribute to one specific element. So if this, I give this the ID of best header, this should be the only element that has this one specific best dash header ID. And I can style that with the hash in CSS. So I could do hash best dash header, right? I can make this font size, let's actually do something easier. Color green. And now it is green. Green doesn't look that too good, does it? It's not very bright. Lime green is a thing, isn't it? Yeah, that looks better, doesn't it? Lime green. Right. Now, you can throw an ID attribute on multiple things, but it doesn't work out so well for the browser trying to interpret what's happening. Because, like, on the main browser scope, you have window dot at. I think this works. Yeah. Whenever you give something an ID, it actually attaches it onto the browser and says, this is the best dash header. Right here. This guy. And so you don't want to overwrite that, because if you add it to a next guy, it's going to overwrite this value. It's not 100. It's not super useful, but best practice for sure is to use an ID for one specific element and use classes for many elements. So, for example, what if I wanted to make a class called like huge, right? I'll make the font size 60 pixels, and I wanted to make some things huge, but some things are not. So I can make this huge. I could also make this red. I could do class equals huge and green. Do I have a green class? No. Huge and green, huge and red. Huge and green, huge and red. So, as you can see, this guy, you can have more than one class. You can only have one ID. Theoretically, yeah. So it's huge red, huge green. So that way you can tack on a whole bunch of classes if you want to make your styles granular, so that you can assign some elements with like 5 or 6 classes to say exactly what's happening with it. That is how Bootstrap works. Bootstrap is like the CSS library that was made by Twitter. And in Twitter, you have some elements that have classes. They have like a whole bunch of classes that just give it the very small details. Like, oh, this has the class of padding -15, so I'm going to give it 15 padding. This has the class of red, so I'm going to make it color red. However, that's really not done because it ends up being pretty bloaty at the end of the day. You have a whole bunch of styles, and maybe you don't use all of them. So how it really works for application developers that are making like one specific thing, like we are, and like I do every day, is you make certain things with their own specific classes, and you make them with their own specific IDs and style them that way. So you try not to make your classes super broad. The period is how you differentiate between a tag and a class. So you could have red, but red would be trying to apply the style to a red tag. I'm not even sure I could make a red tag. It might make it and then interpret it as a div or some shit like that. Red? So here is a red tag. Red isn't actually like a supported tag or anything like that. I just kind of made it up. But you can see it's here, right? And I do the red style right here, and I give it color red. And it will turn red. So this isn't actually being styled by the red class. So adding a period. Or actually, maybe I should make this. I should probably make this a little bit easier to understand. Mine. I don't know why it's going to be called mine, but it's going to be called mine. Mine. Mine? This is mine. Okay? This is my little div here. Mine's color is yellow. And because it is scoping off of its tag versus scoping off of its class. If I were to do .mine, that means it's going to scope onto things that have the class of mine and not the tag of mine, right? So this is no longer yellow, because the styles are looking for anything with the class of mine and not the tag of mine. But I could actually give this a class of mine, and then it would pick up the style. You see how it's yellow now? So that's how that works. And you declare those things in the index HTML with classes. So your class is red, class is huge and green, class is huge and red. And that is how you scope. So those are like the 3 different ways of scoping on CSS to begin with. There's also many other ways to scope certain things in CSS. So I'll give you one quick example, but we won't go further than that. Say this div has another attribute on it. That's not class or ID. It has an attribute of data-foo, and its data-foo is bar, right? This is like a custom attribute that I would use in my code if I wanted to do something. Yes, mine would be a tag, although mine is a tag that I just made up. So like, really you could use any tag you want. You could call this like that. You could call it whatever the heck you want. But most browsers kind of freak out if they see some weird shit. So here's a tag with like some garble, right? But for the most part, if you look up like HTML tags, there is a list of like supported tags that you should be using for most things. So like you have some things that are like area, B for bold, body for body, break for single line break, canvas, center. These are all tags that you should be using when you create your HTML document. But you can make whatever tags you want, but it's not really a good idea all the time. Just to give you an example, perspective. Okay, so what was I doing? I was showing. Let's do hierarchy. So let's say, for example, we have header 1 with the ID of best header, and best header color is lime green. If I also give this the class of red, class huge red. We not make custom tags, or should we use divs with an ID? You definitely should use divs with an ID because, for example, some mobile browsers will see that custom tag and be like, what the heck is this? I don't know what this is. I'm not going to render it. Some older browsers don't render that shit at all, or they might even break. So some things are weird like that. You definitely want to use the ones that are slated out to you from HTML. What's up, Hung Poodle? What's going on, man? But all right, so we're going back to this. So this header one has two classes. It has huge and red. Would I recommend Atom for beginners? I think it's pretty bare bones to get started with. All it does is open up files and color code them for you. So it probably wouldn't be too bad to get started with that guy. You could just like open it up and then like either open it with the CLI or just open up folders. It also connects to Git, so you can see over here like in GitHub these files are green because they're new. I'll talk about that later when I actually commit. But Atom isn't a bad place to start. I originally started using Sublime Text, so and that one's also really simple, just like this. And most people that I know, most developers I know, either use like an IDE like WebStorm, or they use Sublime Text and Atom. And I know developers that have been working for years and still use Atom or still use Sublime Text. So it's usually good for multiple years. All right, so back to this. We have this H1 tag. It has two classes, a class of huge and a class of red, but also has this ID. Now, if it has a class of huge and red, by definition, it's going to have its font size will be 60 pixels, and it's going to be red, right? But also, it has this ID of \header. Now, like when you have this kind of conflict, you have one thing telling it to be lime green and one thing to be color red. The browser then decides, okay, which one is more important, the class or the ID? And it's going to choose the ID. The ID takes precedence over the class. The class takes precedence over a tag, and then there's a whole bunch of more other ways of hierarchical importance. But the simplest ones are this, right? Huge, red. So you can see this header. It has the class of huge, which makes it 60 pixels, right? But the color red gets crossed out because the best header ID says it's supposed to be lime green. So therefore, it overwrites this red color and becomes lime green. So that's why this is happening right here. And now there's also other, let's get into children. Not kids, but child elements. So we can have a div right here. We'll call this parent. We'll have div class child. Parent, or child. Parent. So, I guess I could also, no problem for the info, Hung Poodle. No problem, man. You're gonna ask questions too. So, anytime you have a div, like you can write text, and you could also put tags inside of it. So I can add an extra tag in here if I wanted to. I could add in a whole bunch of tags if I wanted to. And then, let me fix that real quick. Come on. Excuse me. And then, even these children can have extra child elements. So I could put another... I could have a parent with a child and another child inside that. And that can go on forever, if you really wanted it to. So we can take a look at this guy. You can see parent, child, and child's child. So you can see the child, you can see this guy is, you can kind of see it over here. I wonder if this is too small for you guys to see. And these are the developer tools. So what are we doing? We're going over very basic HTML and CSS, so that if anyone in the chat wants to know it, they can learn. Feel free to ask any questions if you have any questions as we're going along here. We're kind of just explaining how classes and IDs and styles and HTML work. So right now we're working on child elements. So right here is a parent. This is a div tag that has another div tag inside of it, and you can see it highlighting over here on the left. So you have this one that includes the parent, which includes the child, and this child includes a child. What do you do for work? I make fantasy sports games for a living, so I do a lot of front-end development, so HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. A lot of more JavaScript than anything else, for sure. Then this last thing right here, this is a child of this child. Now it makes it very easy to say, for example, I wanted all three of these things to be text align right. and all of a sudden they're all working on text-align right. Current job as a WordPress developer. That's where I started out. I started out as a WordPress dev. How do you get into that line of work? Honestly, what I did was I learned, I got a job at my university making websites, and I learned PHP and JavaScript, HTML, and CSS all through online tutorials and through my peers, and eventually got into it doing it as a full-time job. Do you want to learn how to program? I kind of already know how to program. Yeah. So like, I mean, by program I mean like I've made scripts with Node. I've made scripts with Ruby. JavaScript is technically, I guess, programming. So, thanks, Hung Poodle. If you followed, maybe my notification thing will work, because I just built it. So, yeah, JavaScript isn't programming. Well, you can run it in Node.js if you want. It's technically scripting in the browser. But at the end of the day, I'm still writing code that runs. So, tomato, tomato. So, we're moving on to, we're still on the hierarchy right here, right? And so, say for example, I wanted everything underneath a certain parent to have a certain style. So I can make this guy have text align right, and all this text is on the right, right? I could also give it color, red. So everything underneath it is red. I could give it font size 24 pixels. Oh, I fucked it up. And so everything underneath this is 24 pixels. You don't need your name popping up on the screen. I get it, dude. Thanks for the follow, man. It's good shit. It might show up. I don't know. I just finished programming it. I still haven't worked out all the kinks. But it worked when I did the dev of it. Might be broken. So, inheritance. Yes. Thank you. Parents and children and shit. Inheritance. So, this parent tells his children, hey, you're not only am I 24 pixels, you were also 24 pixels, and also you were 24 pixels. Do I do YouTube videos? Unless you like watching old school League of Legends shit. I could, no, I don't do anything like that. I try to like just stream as having fun with coding projects, but I feel like some people would have enjoyed doing like some basic stuff, so there was a little bit of call for it to learn some more basic things, because I was doing a lot of crazy shit. So maybe I'll my plan, I guess, is to export this onto YouTube, and I'll like once that's done, I'll also put it like under the description down here in case anyone wants to watch it after the fact. So once we're finished with this broadcast, I'll cut it up a bit, throw it on YouTube, so that'd be easy. Old school League, yeah, back with Pizza Feet, Mordekaiser and shit, back in the good old days, yeah. I got some old school League of Legends videos on my channel. Alright, so we've already established that the parent usually tells the children what to do. However, if you have in your styles that you want the, let's say parent, for example, anything with the parent class has font size of 24 pixels. But then if you also said to the child of the parent, font size 18 pixels, that's going to get overwritten. Child. That is going to get overwritten. Let's actually make this a little bit easier to see. We're going to make this 36. And we're going to make this 20. It's a little bit easier to see. So you can see that anything that's underneath parent says, okay, everything underneath here is 36 pixels. Review Thug Pro on the podcast. Do you consider yourself an open book? How do you feel about all these questions? I feel like I'm here to help when it comes to coding. A lot of people come in here and ask for review, because like that's how I started. I'm all self-taught and stuff. I never got a degree from university. I just learned everything I could from my peers, from working and trying to learn through the internet. So I feel like I should try to help as many people as I can do the same thing, because I really like what I do now. And a lot of people that I knew in college, like they struggled with coding, and they struggled with going through the system like usual. And I don't know, maybe I'll catch somebody and show them this stuff, and maybe they'll follow the same path I did and like doing what they're doing with web dev instead of doing something else. So I feel like I got a significant amount of knowledge here that I could just throw out there, and I enjoy doing this stuff for the weekend, making fun projects. So, you know, I have no problem giving back and shit. So, good old internet, help me. I might as well help the internet. So, alright, so getting back to this. So, we have this parent guy here. This parent says the font size is 36 pixels. So, any children underneath them should have the font size of 36 pixels, right? So, but if I give a div a specific class to that, do I have a portfolio site? I do have my website, which is lanzo.space. I'll type that in chat. I should probably put that in my description. That's just got some random links in it. Anytime I have a project that I'm kind of proud of, I throw it down there. But that's where most of my stuff is. Yeah, I could link Bunnysplode. I made this as a demo for an Amazon Fire Stick. If you want to take a look at that too. It's pretty fucking OP. Use left and right to move instead of up and down, because I'm cool that way. Then use space to explode. Wow, space. Now that's an awesome TLD. Yeah. Hey, it was cheap. It was $1. Or the better version, Nast Dragon. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and link Nast Dragon? Let the viewers decide. Okay, so let's finally get through this. Okay, so a parent says 36 pixels, but you can also put, if you have a class on a child, if it's specific to that, if it's on that element, it will overwrite what its parent says for it to be. So even though the parent says it needs to be 36 pixels, because I have the class of child right here saying it's 20, it's going to overwrite that. You see how it's crossed out right here? Because it's being overwritten by the 20 pixels. And I can even go further than that on child here. Not very creative names, I know. But I can make the font size 12 pixels. And here it's overwritten even further. You can see right here it's even smaller because it's 12 pixels. And you can see the 20 pixels and the 36 pixels are crossed out. So, yes. Alright. So that's hierarchy and inheritance. So for the most part, like if you tack something on HTML and body, it will bubble down to everything else. Broken on HTTPS. Did you add HTTPS link? Thanks, GitHub. You need to add in your own certs if you're gonna use GitHub Pages. You need to like set that shit up, which I never did, and I'm pretty sure we never did for any of the Nast Dragon games. Sorry. Yeah. I wonder why, oh, that must be why. Oh, that sucks. I don't think I can. I can't show. Ah, man, that kind of blows. I know why my follow alerts don't work. It's because I'm gonna need to unscrew that. My follow alerts aren't going to work through OBS because you need to be logged in for the follower alerts, and the OBS browser source can't technically log in, so that's why that's not working. You're loading the stats.js thing via HTTP independent S HTML, and it'll work. Yeah. Yeah, play all the Nast Dragons. They're good old fun. I'll make a JavaScript game one time on stream. I'll do that. If people want to see it, I'll do that too. So here's Child. We already went through that. So let's get on to actually building something useful. So I think we got like a good amount of the basics. There are 6 Nast Dragons. We did it as a joke, and because one of our friends only likes 2 things, NASCAR and dragons, and there's not enough games that incorporate them both. So, obviously we had to make our own. One last thing before we move on. There's also one more selector that I want to talk about, and that is the star. The star is everything. Every single element gets this style. So if I say, for example, font size, we'll say something easy. Letter spacing 10 pixels. Not exactly the easiest, but So literally every single element gets this style of 10. You can see it on every single element, no matter what element it is. Even if it doesn't have any text inside it, it's going to get this 10 pixel letter spacing. That's what the asterisk does. People use the asterisk for some very small things, not something that actually drastically changes what you see. So, for example, when you're looking at a web page with a Mac, usually the font is a little fuzzier because you need to turn on anti-aliasing. So, on most websites, or most websites that actually give a shit, they will turn on a thing called WebKit Font Smoothing anti-aliased. Or they'll turn on -Mac-OSX font smoothing grayscale. They'll turn on box sizing border box. These are some basic things that they append to every single one. Yeah. I think doesn't include start after and start before pseudo elements. Could talk about those. Yeah, I'm not sure if it includes after and before either. I've never actually tested. I don't think so either. I mean, like, before and after gets literally nothing. They get nothing. But those are a little bit more advanced. We're not going to talk about those. So, like, we use, like, if you're on a Mac, you'll notice a difference if these things aren't there. Box sizing border box helps things calculate a little bit better, so you're not kind of like messing up with margins and padding and all that jazz. Let's move on to some actual styling here, some stuff that can be actually used. So we're going to make a new file, new folder actually. We're gonna call a new folder. What should we call this? We'll call this pretty stuff. This will be pretty stuff. And like I said, with index.html, index.html, this is where it's going to look for first. We're going to do the same thing that we kind of did here. We're going to get all the same stuff. We're going to clear out the body, because we're not using any of this jazz. We're going to use new file. So this is going to look differently. So instead of basically this, I could do /pretty/index.html. Here we go. Now we're kind of reset here with keeping our old stuff, because when I upload this to GitHub, I want to show some of the examples from here, and I also want to show whatever we're working on here. So, for example, let's say I was making an actual website. If I was going to make an actual website, like, say, for example, this is how Lanzo.space works. It's just HTML and CSS. There's no crazy JavaScript here. This is just HTML and CSS that's going on here, right? So, that's kind of what we're going to do here. Say, for example, we wanted to start with a website, okay? I have a problem with my computer. I'm currently running Windows ME and Pinball is not working. Any ideas what the issue is? Because Pinball wasn't on Windows ME, you dumb idiot. It was on XP. Good try, though. You dumb idiot. Alright. So, say for example, I'm going to try to use this in the most real application I can. So, if I was just going to start building shit, I would start off with a header, right? Hearing Cherry MX. Fuck if I know. I just spend money on keyboards and without even looking, because I'm that kind of a person. Let's look it up, though. I'm using an Overwatch Razer keyboard that was a promotion when Overwatch came out. That's not going to show up. That's what I'm looking for. Specs. Does it say what kind of keycaps they are? I want to say they're... What's the default color usually? Is like red. Wow, attacking the viewer. The real side of Lanzo comes out. Yeah, it turns out I hate Twitch viewers. But this is what I have. Yeah, the enter key. Are you not a fan of, like, because it's small, or is it, like, too small? Or not big enough? Or is it, like, weird to you? I don't know. I find it's pretty nice. This is what I'm using right now. I have a whole bunch of other ones. Any orange ones? Yeah, but this is what I'm using right now. Alright, so back to it. If I was going to make an actual website, I would start off with a navigation or a header, right? So, I would say, like, I'd want to separate what's actually in my header. What I'm envisioning is what I envisioned for this, like, really quick website we're going to build is something super simple, right? We're going to have website about contact and we'll just keep it at about and contact. And here we'll have cat gifs. We'll have cat gifs all up in here, right? There'll be pictures of cats, and we'll scroll down, stuff like that. I'm not gonna draw a cat. I'm not gonna draw a cat. Okay? I'm not gonna. I've drawn cats before. You can wait until Extra Life for me to draw a cat, because I draw cats on Extra Life. I draw anything on Extra Life, so wait for that. All right. So this is what I'm basically gonna be working with here, right? This is what I'm gonna work with. So starting off in draw CSS and in pure CSS, draw cat in pure CSS for extra street cred. Can't I just plagiarize somebody's work on Codehead? I wonder if the CodePen cat. There we go. Yeah, this was definitely me, right here. 100% me. So was this one. Type here. One element. Yeah, people can make this shit with just CSS. Oh shit, did that just blink at me? Holy fuck. Wait. Hold on. Hold up. Oh. It blinks! Ah! It's fucking weird, man. I'll just steal this person's work and say it's mine. Yeah. Alright, going back to it. So, I'm going to have a header here, and I want to have the title. And the title is going to be my cat website. Or you know what? We'll just call it, we'll give it a funky name that attracts attention with a weird letter like cats. Oh, that streamer is falling from the top ranks fast. Sorry, man. I couldn't take the pressures of being at the top. It was too hard, man. I couldn't fucking handle it, man. Cats. And then in here, what we're going to do is we're going to have two divs. I really want to use Flexbox here, but I'm not going to because it's a little too nutty. Yeah, I do like Flex. I love dogs. I have a dog. Ozzy, come say hello to the camera. He's asleep on my bed. I wonder if I can see him. Ozzy! 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 Come here. Ozzy! He moved. Ozzy, look. Come here. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here. I feel like a jerk. He was all comfortable. Who's your good boy, buddy? Who's your good boy? Yeah? You a good boy? Who's your good boy? Yeah, you a good boy. Next thing you know, Terrence, poor Jeter is going to be saying that how I use dogs for attention. I don't actually like dogs. You'll try to shift the worldview on me. Love you, buddy. He's a good dog. I love him. His name is Oz. He's a white-haired terrier boxer mix. All right, back to business. So in here, we're going to be splitting up the left and the right, of this header bar. The left just being the website, the right is going to have some links. So the right, we're going to have some anchor tags here. We'll do /about. Have migrated to display grid now. Yep. Ever since I started to really understand how to use Flexbox, I've been using Flexbox all over the gosh darn place. He uses dogs to attract women. If only that were true. About in contact. About in contact. So right here, we're going to do class left. We're also going to give it the class of website title. We're also class equals header dash link. That's what we're going to start off with for a moment here. Okay? So, if we look at this, this is what we got. We got a class of header with the left side with cats, the right side with whatever, right? So, what we're also going to do is, before I move any further, I think I should also mention, so you see right here, like, remember what I mentioned that, that H1 tags have, like, default styles, like, they're always bold, they have extra margins, they have a bigger font size. A lot of people end up using a reset style sheet that takes all of that away. We're not going to completely do that, but we are going to do it to the body. The body does have default margins on it. You can see right here, its default margin is 8 pixels. You see this, like, the orange there? Over here? We're going to take that off. And that's the only thing I really care about right now. So, body. Margin 0. Alright. Let's see. Do you use any pre-post processor for your CSS in production? Pre-processors, I've used Stylus before. It's okay. I mainly use Sass. I've used the indent style for most of my time developing, but also I've used, like, the traditional bracket style isn't too bad either. It doesn't really matter too much to me. Then we also use Post CSS to add in all the extra support for other browsers, and inlining images is also a fun thing to do. So I use that at work. So we kind of use both. So Sass is mainly what I've used for sure. Don't let the stream distract you from the fact that the Falcons blew a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. At least my tax returns Republic wants to know if you're hiding. I'm actually Batman. Yeah, Post CSS. Exactly. Post CSS is pretty freaking amazing. I really do like it. It allows me to be super lazy and not have to worry about fucking anything. Before I used, you know, we used mix-ins for in Sass to do all the support for all the browsers. But Post CSS just, like, you know, takes care of that shit. It's pretty great. So, I guess I can explain that real quick. So everyone knows there's many browsers. There's Mozilla, there's Chrome, Opera, and Internet Explorer, and also Edge. So sometimes one thing that's true in one browser might not be true in the others, right? So you could say things like, what's a good example? Whenever you put an input tag or a paragraph tag, let's go with a paragraph. Say for the sake of argument, a paragraph tag in Chrome gets 20 pixels of padding. It's 20 pixels of padding. In Safari, it gets 11.5 or some shit, and in Opera it gets, you know, 9.5. So some browsers work differently. when it comes to the more experimental things like transitions and animations, some of them add in the support, but with their own special tag. So Chrome is based off WebKit, so it uses the -WebKit. Mozilla Firefox uses -Moz. IE usually uses -MS-, so some things happen, but is it mean to ignore Internet Explorer when designing a website? Usually not, because nowadays, because of Windows 10, most people are off of like the old school internet browsers. So like you don't really have to support like IE 9 or earlier. You really only have to worry about IE 11 and Edge for the most part. But some websites are like, you know, oh, we want to cater to everybody, so we're going to support all the way back to IE 6. And like shit gets really basic when it gets back to IE 6. So what form of witchcraft do you practice? I use I perform black magic. If you look under the subreddit black magic fuckery, that's like 90% me. I mostly do all the black magic that's on that subreddit. All right. Anyway, so we're just gonna take off the margins here on body because that's a default thing. So you can see it kind of just moved there for a second. What we're gonna do here with this header is we're going to make dot header, which is going to scope everything inside anything under the class of header. Font size, we're going to make this you know what, I'm not going to make that what the font size should be this guy. What the font size should be this guy. 28 pixels. Now, if I do this, of course, it's going to scope to the other things underneath the header. Ask Javel McGee what 9 plus 10 is. Are you asking me to go to AskJeeves.com and type in 9 plus 10? Is that what you're asking me? But no. We're going to do dot left. What we're going to do here is actually, I totally forgot about like adding extra shit here. But what you can also do is you can use the same rule for multiple selectors. So if I wanted to have anything with, we have two classes here, right? We have left and right. If I wanted them both to have width 50%, I could do left width 50%, and I could also do dot right 50%, or to make this easier on myself, what I could also do is dot left comma dot right width 50%. This will do the same thing as this, right? So I could do that. So I'm making anything with class left and class right. Width is 50%. And you can pass in pixel values or percentages. Percentages usually are attributed to whatever its parent is. So its parent is this header. Its width is 100%, which is the width of the browser, you see. So if I change this up, it's going to be this big. If I change it back up, it's going to be that big. So right now, when I change it to 50%, you can see the blue part here. That's its actual width, and the orange part is the margin. So they both are 50% width. But what I want them to do is I want them to come next to each other like this, right? And in order to do that, there's a couple of different ways. But the most basic way that they ever really teach you, the most basic way that's ever taught, which I'm going to teach you right now, is using float. Float isn't really the best way to go about it. Nowadays, most people use flex to do such a thing because when it comes to float, I'll show you. When you float things, say for example, I want left and right to be right next to each other, I say float left. That will make them assigned to the left side, and then it'll bring the other one assigned to the left side and right next to it. Because they're both widths are 50%, they're going to fit right next to each other. If one was 75%, the other one was 50%, the next one will get knocked down to the next side. Because there's not enough room in that 100% for two things that aren't half each other. So, fucking excuse me? I fucked this up. With 100%. Uh-oh. I fuck myself around here? I fucked it up, didn't I? Well, forget clear once and your website is doomed. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to explain right now, but I'm fucking it up. A whole bunch. These are supposed to float. These two guys are supposed to float. I don't think... actually, I'm not 100% sure the percentages are going to work here. Use some thermal paste to fix it. Yeah, you're right. I'll just use some thermal paste. Oh, I'm an idiot. Yeah. I put float on the wrong element. That's why. Float should be on these guys. Excuse me, BattleNet. So now, this is what I was looking for. Sorry. I kind of fucked that up. So the parent doesn't need to be floated. The children need to be floated. So you see this guy is left. This guy is floated left as well. So that's where they show up. Pretty cool. But you could kind of tell that, like, alright, the word cats is, like, style-wise, it's just, like, it's just too close to the edge here. Right? So what I want to do is I'm going to give this guy, hold on real quick. You don't really need to know too much about this, but... We're going to give we're going to give them both padding. So, they both have padding now. See how they kind of just got a little bit pushed off? I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. Oops. Not that big. That'd be ridiculous. They have a little bit of padding. So, the padding attribute adds an extra space for the element. Right? So I'm gonna do a quick side lesson here on the difference between padding and margin, because I could change this to margin. It's gonna fuck up some shit. So you can see it on the background here. Alright, so margins and padding. If you use margin, all it does is say, like, hey, other things that are near me, move out. I'm going to move out about 12 pixels from that, because the margin is 12 pixels here, right? I take it away, they come back. I decrease this down, like, they slowly say, like, alright, things that are around me, like, come back in slowly, because, like, they're saying, like, I want 3 pixels of margin between me and other things, right? That's one way to say elements that make elements separate from each other, but there is also padding. Padding is slightly different, because if I say, instead of margin, I say padding, 3 pixels, it's different, because padding, I keep going here, right? And what padding does is it adds more, like, it adds more width and height to the inside of the element, right? So it adds in extra width and height, basically. But while keeping the inside of it, keeps the inside of it without, it adds in extra space for that element. So you can style it differently with padding. So I could also do margin 2% here. Knock down these bad boys down to 46. And now they both have padding. And they both have margin. So... The way that they are calculated is slightly different, but for the most part, they basically kind of say, like, I need extra space, right? So you can use both in conjunction to make it look like the elements have more stuff. So you can kind of see how it's slightly green right here. That's the padding, and you can see how its margin is this part, which is saying take away from the other ones. And because of the left and the right, there's like double the space here. Because they both are saying, give me margins here and here. You see that? They both have margin. So they're creating double the space between each other. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add an extra couple padding so it's not like right up against the edge. I'm going to take out this color white. There we are. So I want this to look like a header. Oh, wise man once said pip install pip. Dude, fuck pip. Fuck Python. Or maybe not that, but anytime I've ever had to use a package manager, which is pip, it's not been a fun ride, if you know what I'm saying. So alright. What we're also going to do here is... Oops. I'm going to set the font to something that's not Times New Roman, because serif fonts don't look amazing. Read your comments. Oh, sorry, I missed that. If you're on a date with Flo, the Progressive Insurance lady, what restaurant would you go to, and would there be a second date? Dude, she's got to rake in a ton of money. She would be my sugar mama. She makes like 600 grand per commercial. Fuck yeah. But I'd give her one of those dates to never forget. You know what I'm saying? We'd go whitewater rafting. Or maybe I would devise one of those crazy, like, romantic comedy things where we're stranded out in the wilderness and she learns to love me. Yeah. What's easy to install? A Python package manager. And what's pip? A Python package manager. Yeah, Python doesn't exactly do packages well. That's for sure. Alright, we're getting back to it here. Font family. Arial. Arial. Sans serif. This is gonna make it not look weird. Alright. I told you I wouldn't choose a restaurant. I'd choose an authentic date that made me different from all the other people she's dated. I would make us go whitewater rafting, and then we would get stranded, and then she'd learn to love me because I'd provide for her while we were stranded out in the wilderness. Then we'd fall in love, have 2 kids, and I wouldn't work for the rest of my life because she makes bank working as Flo. 600 grand an episode, or 600 grand a commercial for that shit. Fucking nuts. Alright, back to it. Now, because I made these things float... No, I'm not drunk yet. Are you drunk yet? Because I made these things float, right? They move up next to each other. You can see the parent here. Now, this is something, like, quirky about HTML and CSS that just... I honestly can't explain it. Like, I haven't looked up the reason why. I only know how to fix it. So, you can see the parent right here. Usually, the parent calculates its height based on the children inside it. Now, these children both have 56 pixels worth of height, right? But the parent is not 56 pixels. It's actually 0, which is really weird. But if you add the property of overflow hidden, there's other ways to clear it, but this is the most simple bum-ass way to do it. It now has height. If you take out overflow hidden, it no longer has height. Height? No height. You see? So, we definitely want it to have height. And what we're going to do here is we're going to set the... what we're going to do here is... I'm trying to think what we want this page to look like. We're going to set the background color for the HTML. Looks like that. Slightly dark. Clearing with clear. I could do that. Yeah. You aren't drinking fast enough then? Yeah, I'm really not. Sue me. I got one drink left. But I'm feeling it, Mr. Krabs. I can feel it. Thanks. Alright. And we want the header to differentiate itself. So background dash color is white. See how it kind of separates? Now, what we also want to do is kind of give it a little bit of the old border. One pixel solid. And then we give it some color for the border at the bottom. So we give it a border bottom, so this parent element has a border for 1 pixel. It's solid, so it's not dashed. It's not a dash border. You can change this to dashed. So border is another, you can see how it's dashed. But we want it to be solid. Most people use border do solid. Your dick is stuck in the program? Nah, shit, son. How did it even get stuck? I thought it was too tiny to get stuck anywhere. Hashtag burn. Hashtag Lanzo is great. See, maybe I've had too much to drink. Alright, so this has a border. Which is good, because it kind of gives us stylistically something to look at differently that separates it from the rest of the document. What is next? We want to separate, we want to show these guys a little bit better, instead of them being so big and bulky. So, we're going to, because they both have the class of header-link, we're going to take that, oops, font size 18 pixels. See, those look a little bit better. They look a little bit more like. And then we're going to leave that for the moment there. And then we're going to work around with the body, with the rest of it. So we have this header right here, but we need cat gifs, right? We need some cat gifs. The way that this should work is that the header is always 100% of the width, and these guys are always 50%. So imagine looking at this thing on mobile. This is what 320 is like the width of the iPhone 4. So this still kind of works with the iPhone 4. But I'm not going to open up the can of worms that is programming for responsiveness, so for responsive design. So if I ever use model view controller, every day of my goddamn life, my dude. Next question. Alright, so we got that. Now let's add in the body. So, I'm not talking about the body tag, I'm talking about like where we're actually going to put stuff. So we're going to call this cat's body, I guess. So this is where all the content is supposed to go. Where do babies come from? You like web forms better? What do you mean, cause fuck JS? Yep. Well, try doing anything cool with web forms. Literally, anything cool comes from JavaScript and CSS. Anything cool on the web. What the fuck do web forms do? Take your email address? Yeah. That's what I fucking thought. Alright. And here, we're gonna put in some cat gifs, alright? But in order to do that first, what we're going to do is cat's body. You want this to appear like it is the main place for everything. Web forms has yes, it's generated for you. Yeah, technically, I guess. I mean, your whole browser is running JavaScript, technically. If you want to be technical about it, but you're never actually running anything. You're never writing your own shit. Every time you go forward and back, and every time there's you click on a link, shit's a little different. You know what I'm saying? Alright. Cat's body. Now, the normal width of most websites, they usually default down to 960 pixels. Like, if you look at the 960 grid system, you see this right here, this extra gutter space on the left and right? This is the gutter space after this right here, which is 960 pixels. Which people have found out from some golden rule or some bullshit that 960 pixels in width is very good for the eye to see, right? I honestly don't care too much about it. But as far as I know, 960 pixels is a pretty great place to start when it comes to showing the inside of your website. So just like our website that we're building, this also has a header that is 100% width. You see how it follows? 100%. But the rest of this right here, which is 960 pixels, and the rest is just margin. It's pushing everything else out, right? But this main part is 960 pixels, which is the same thing we're about to do. Okay, doke? Okie dokie. Cat's body. Width 960 pixels. Margin top 12 pixels. We're also going to put in some text. So, you know what? I'll restart you. Fucking bad on that. I'll also margin top auto 0. I'll explain that in a second. Background color. Sorry, I feel like this grabs. Why isn't this? Oh, margin. Right. So here we are. People have found out from some golden rule or some bullshit that blank it's settled. That's how I start every presentation I have to give for the rest of my life. For hundreds of years, people have found out that sacrificing blood to the blood god or some bullshit is the way to do websites. Agree or disagree? What is the best way to train your Magikarp and Magikarp jump? Is to get really, really, really stoned and actually play that game, because it's impossible to play it unless you're strummed out of your gourd. It's easy for resolution purposes. Purposes? Yeah, if you're bad at resolution purposes. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, just using HTML forms is fine. Yeah, definitely. If your app just requires that, then sure. But if you're making a web app that has that you want to have more features, like you want certain things to pop up or go away, if you check a checkbox or not check a checkbox, if you're typing into an input field, you want certain things to show up. You know what I'm saying? You want things to change if you're typing into an input field. What's a good example? For example, if you're making a new account somewhere, a lot of the most major, like, newer websites, you start typing in, and, like, as you type in, it will start saying, hey, this password you're typing in is less than 10 characters, and 10 characters is our minimum for passwords. And you need JavaScript to run to tell you that, like, every time someone types, I need to check to make sure it's more than 10 characters. If not, I show this message. So you need JavaScript for stuff like that. So even for forms, if you want the better versions of those forms, you're going to need JavaScript for it. But if you're bad at resolution purposes, then you quit your job or your internship. Validators. Gotta validate. Validator's gonna validate. Hater's gonna hate. Am I right, guys? Am I right? Alright. So we have this guy right here. This is our body, right? So it's kind of separated from the left and from the right and from the top. So you can see it kind of like keeps in line there. Which is good. Good. We're also going to toss on an H1 saying here are some cat gifs. Look how big that shit is, alright? But even so, we look at this and it's just like too close to this, so we also need to add some padding onto this bad boy as well. Padding 10 pixels. That's the way to go. I'm just gonna make that 12. Doesn't matter. Cat's body. Padding. So that the text content on the inside also gets kind of pushed out. Can't quit your job if you're unemployed. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Alright. Now, when it comes to titles, we also don't want the text to be aligned left. Probably better if this thing was aligned middle, right? Or aligned center. There is a CSS attribute for this called text-align. Center. For the most part, when it comes to CSS, like, I don't remember every single CSS rule. They all just kind of come to me because I've worked with them for so long. If you ever need to look this stuff up, the internet's there. Just Google it. Like, how do I make text appear in the center? So, there's like a knocking sound. Is it me? Am I making the knocking sound? Web forms are like half HTML, half C#. Web forms are half HTML and half whatever programming language you're using. So. What are you talking about? What sounds? I'm not fapping. Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about, man. Yeah, Stack Overflow is... Every developer uses Stack Overflow. Yeah. That's because I don't have... I usually have an arm that attaches with a shock mount, but I have all of my... I have literally all my equipment is at work right now. So, like, all my arms, my pop filters, all that jazz. I usually have more of a setup here because I also do podcasting. Tree. Alright, so text-align center is a way to... You could... Text-align tells things if they are center and, you know, justify left and right. But for the most part, people use it to specify left, right, or center. So, we're going to say this guy, this H1 right here. We're going to give that a class name. Cat's header. Text-align. That's what I was doing. Text-align center. That will make it show up in the middle of its element instead of to the left or to the right. So, and voila, there it is. Now, the next section of this index is that we want to have some cat GIFs. So, if you guys want to find some cat GIFs and show them in chat, that would be great. I'm not sure if I have links allowed. Actually, I have no idea. I think pretty sure I do. Chilling videos. Yeah. Pulling a Loco Doco jerking off on stream. Did Loco Doco actually do that? Is that why he dropped off the face of the earth? Actually, I probably wouldn't know. I don't pay attention to League anymore. Alright, so if you guys want to find some cat gifs, that'd be great. I'm going to grab my last and final hard lemonade and use the bathroom real quick, and then we'll get into linking to other pages. Alright? Cool? Cool. I see messaged me. No. Here you poop. Just thought I'd let you know. Bought some bread today and found I didn't have a toaster. Well, you require a toaster to actually eat bread? This isn't a cat gif, but I'll take it. Sure. Got another one too? Alright, hold on, let me add this one. So because these are images, we're going to use the image tag. Right? Like so. Wait, that's not going to work, is it? We need to embed technically, so we need this link. Because we can't link to the page, we have to... Oh, what the heck? Excuse me? That's what we're looking for. Okay. This shit's just stupid. We'll use the cheeseburger one. We'll also look up cats. Tickling your ivories. Am I right? I'm up in your piano. Tickling your ivories. Oh god, what the fuck is this shit? This is some weird shit. I just wanted cats, not cats. Copy image address should have worked, right? Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. The first one didn't load because it wasn't right. Oh yeah, because it wasn't right. The one. Fuck, dude. This shit out of here. I'm not putting fucking. I'm not putting twerking Master Chief. I'm sorry. I'll go through a lot, but I won't do that. I'll do anything for love, but I won't do that. That is a broken link. It doesn't seem to want to fucking work, but it totally works here. But I have to copy link address and maybe put that in here. Maybe that's what I was looking for. It's still not what I'm looking for. Fucking Giphy. Just give me what I want. Magikarps only. You don't have to close image. Yeah, but try not closing image when working in React. You get fucking... You get accustomed, man. You just fucking... It happens. Oh, I don't want to stop clicking on that. View... Oh my god. Okay, oh dear. If you take the slash off, will that still break? No? Will this work then? So it wasn't actually on Giphy? I'm confused. There we go. Alright, mine is nicknamed the Lanzolini. If you have your Magikarp is nicknamed the Lanzolini. Alright. Touche. Magikarp. Yep. Even though the title says cats, it's going to be Magikarps. Now, here we are. Where's his name? Craig? Probably because it dies a whole bunch. Alright, now we have all these GIFs. Not all of them are of cats, even though it says here are some cat GIFs. That doesn't really matter. What matters is that they are images. And what we want to do is well, at least what I want to do is stack them one on top of each other instead of having them be displayed inline next to each other. So, what we're going to do is we are going to say all image tags are display block instead of inline. So that's what we're going to do. We're also going to give them all class. What's a good way to do this? Cat's body, I guess. I don't think I've talked about this yet. No, I did. No, I didn't. So you can select elements based on their parent, right? So let's say all image tags that are underneath cats-body image. This is how you select all image tags. I should probably make this bigger. All image tags underneath that are children of the parent class cats-body. Oh, no wonder why it's brown. The Magikarp GIF has some AAA animation. AAA. Only the highest quality of stuff here. Am I right? Alright. So, for these, to make them stack on top of each other, we're going to give them display block. Here it is. Now, there's also one other property that we can use to make it use the attributes that we want of text and block. So say, for example, we want to put these in the middle. We could use margin auto. Or we could make them all display inline dash block. Like so. And then we can make cat's body text align center. Because it's inline dash block, it will get those text align properties, so it will be in the center, like so. So this way it will automatically toss itself and say like, hey, this is what's going to happen. They're all going to fit on the same line. If you can't, push it to the next line and then stay blocked. So this is what's happening. Isn't that great? Maybe we should add some more GIFs. But here's the deal. Yes. Alright. What we should also do is add a home. Home. Shit. Oh, that's the relative link. That'll be fixed once it's deployed. I wonder if I have WS. I don't know why I do that. Oh, what the fuck? It's not what I wanted. Oh, I'm in the wrong place, of course. Like an idiot. I wanted to make an easy web server, but I did not. This is so much easier on Unix, so... Alright. This will work once it's actually deployed and shit, so who really cares? Alright. So, index, we have our cats and stuff. What we also want to do is add in an about section and a contact section. In order to do that, we also need to have these things linking to the correct place. Because we're off of /index.html, which is just slash, and then anything slash pretty brings us to index.html, but slash pretty slash about should bring, what we need to have there is an about folder with an index.html. Now for the most part we can copy what's here and put it here and just take out what's out of the body into should probably, let's see, how should I do this? This would be a good opportunity to teach you guys about inline styles. Eat those nasty, more like eat those nasty steaks. Copy and paste programming. You know how it is. That's how it works. This is the about page, right? So we're going to change this to about. Got to keep these the same. Be like, this is the about page. I am I'm going to put everything in paragraph tags here, just to kind of demonstrate paragraph tags. I am a person who likes a very specific subset of GIFs. Those that include cats, those that include Zoidberg, and those that include Magikarp. That's how you spell it, right? And we'll also add don't judge me. Right, indeed. So instead of having a style sheet that we link off to, what we can also do is create a style tag. This will do the exact same thing as having that, except it will be in line. There are other benefits to having it being not inside a style tag here, but we're just going to explain it as an alternative way, right? So we're going to do the same shit that this was doing. Yeah. All this badass shit. We're going to paste that inside here. And that will work the exact same as it did with, not the slush bot, with this page. And here we are. The exact same styles. If I didn't have those styles in there, then it would be just as weird. It wouldn't have any styles on it. So, here we are. This is the about page. Go to the and let me go to the home, and here's the home page, and here's the about page. We want to do the same exact thing with the contact, I suppose. Exact same thing, contact. We'll leave something stupid like this was a demo for stream. Alright, dude. Thanks for tuning in, Corrupt. I'll see you next time. Next time we do this stuff. This is demo for a stream. Very simple. Full static website with HTML and CSS. That'll be the about page. And let me do I should probably put this on the contact page or the about page. This is the about page. Contact. All right. So, say for example, another quick tidbit is linking in email addresses. So, have you ever clicked on a link that was like email us here? And you click on it and it opens up your default email client, right? And the way to actually program that in is pretty simple. So, for example, I said like contact me via email, anchor tag, href. What you do is you add the mail to colon and then add the email address. And also say like, you know, the lanzolini@gmail.com. This link, what you can do right here, the mail to part, tells your browser saying like, hey, what you're about to click on is an email address. Take whatever the default program on his computer is of the email client and open up a brand new email to send to this email address. You see? So, we're going to go to /contact here. If I click on this, it's going to open up my default mail browser. So it says like, you know, it's going to ask me all this other bullshit. Where's my box? I don't even know what I have here. It opens up thelanzolini@gmail.com because that's the one I added in. I could add in asd@asd.com. And it will open up a new email to asd@asd.com. I'll never put an email address in my source again. I've gotten so much spam out of that. Really? I've never had that kind of an issue. I've put my email address all over the place. But I also have like a whole bunch of filters and shit like that. So anything that's even remotely close to some scummy bull crap, it goes straight into the filter and I never get to see anything like it again. So, I don't know. My websites aren't even popular enough to get hit by bots. So, yay me. I guess. Great. Alright, more lemonade. Alright. So now that we have all this together, what should we do with it? I think we should put this into a situation where it can actually be available. So, what we're going to do here is grab this. Now, you don't have to pay too much attention to what's going on here. This is all just Git stuff. So, I'm just going to push this up to GitHub. GitHub dash add dash a. It just makes me add everything to be staged, and then I say git commit, append it with message, and say initial commit, git push origin master. Right. Now I can do some other. I can do some other stuff. I can do git. I'm not sure if this will work completely. We'll find out. Git checkout dash b gh dash pages. So every GitHub repo, because this exists right here. Here's all the stuff that I just wrote. Right here's all the code. GitHub.com/thelanzolini/basic-html-css. This is where all the code is I just wrote. Now, every GitHub repository being like a collection of code, every single one has the support to have its own little website after it. GitHub added this support in so that everyone could have a very simple static website for their code, for their project, for whatever. So, for example, my basic website, which is somewhere around this guy. This thing is actually just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It's just like simple static stuff. This is my lanzo.space. Right? This is everything in here. Class of link and stuff like that. And here it is, class of link. Here's all my stuff, my Twitter, my Twitch, the T-Force. Twitter, Twitch, tweet, T-Force right here. All that jazz. We are number 1.jpg or .mp3. Yeah, that's uploaded. Oh, where is that uploaded? That's uploaded under Lanzo Alerts. Right? No, not Lanzo Alerts. Extra Life Alerts. If you want a simple exposure to, so for example, I guess, because GitHub gives you web pages for not only your user, which is for me like the Lanzolini, they also give you per repository. So this repository is Extra Life Alert. So if I went to thelanzolini.github.io/extra life alert, this would render to this, to my Extra Life Alert thing. I added a specific domain name, which is lanzo.space, to go here. But theoretically, the username.github.io would also go here. But yeah, it's just a simple, it just hosts static assets. So we are number 1.mp3 is right here. Yeah. Great, huh? That exists under there. Extra life alert. That was something I made for extra life that actually works pretty well. I'll take it. Yeah. Okay. What's next? What's next? What's next? We're gonna push this stuff to GitHub Pages. So, if you create a branch called gh-pages, that repository will automatically get its own little static web server. So, which means that a web server will be created for this folder here, which includes this index.html and the style.css and these folders and their subsequent index.htmls right there. Right? Good. So, we're going to get, we already can check out branch gh-pages. Git push origin gh-pages. A little bit of authentication. There it is. Now there is a new branch up on GitHub with gh-pages branch. And this is all pushed up right now. So if I go to lanzo.space / basic-html-css, here it is. Right? / pretty. Here we are. About. Fucking never mind, apparently. Did I fuck this up somewhere, somehow? Oh, that would be why. Ew, I forgot to do that. Ew. Ew. It's not / pretty. / basic. Basic-html-css. / pretty. I forgot the extra root there because I wasn't thinking about that. I think it was going to be root. Alright, so we're going to do this and bring this here. Same for these places too. Because like these are relatively like hard links to go from /, so that means that they're going to be / whatever. I set these to just /about pretty /about. They need to be / basic HTML CSS / pretty /about. If that makes any sense. But that's easily remedied. So I did that. Git commit. Oops. Fix nav links. Starting to feel it, Mr. Krabs. You know what I'm saying? Too much hard lemonade. I'll pull this shit in. Alright. So up to date here on master. I fucked it up? I did. My hands, they accidentally fat-fingered an extra. Oh, my fat-fingered another one again. Yeah, there we go. Sorry. Okay. Now that should be fixed in a timely manner. See, here we go. About and contact are all working. So here's our test where I kind of just did the simplest I could possibly do to show like a really easy and simple. What the fuck? How was that working a second ago? But not here. Did I fuck something up somewhere? Wait, what? We just cast there for a second. Here we go. And here's that really simple, super simple static website that I made. So there's definitely a whole shit ton more that you could be doing. Whole shit ton more to learn. But this is like the basic, like here's some HTML, some CSS, some whatever. Here's the stuff that I was explaining before. All of this code is up on GitHub. Basic HTML and CSS. If you're following along with this video, I guess it's just you go to github.com/thelanzolini/basic-html-css, and you'll find out all the source code that we are fucking around with. If you have any questions, feel free to say it in chat, or email me, or check out the Twitch channel, or whatever. I'm just gonna be doing this stuff. I think every Friday. My goal is to just stream this stuff for fun, I guess. I made a pretty badass follow animation, but it got kind of fucked up because I totally forgot to account for actually logging in with like OBS, because you can't actually log in with that. So I'll give a quick demo right here before we pop off. What's a good one? We're looking for Lanzo alerts. We're going to back up out of here. NPM start that bad boy. So in the past we have worked on this, which will show up in about 10 seconds. And we've also worked on another alert in this project, which I will show after this one shows up. Oh fuck, I need to restart it. Improper off. Eat a dick. Oh, this must be a new PowerShell instance. It's gonna have a client ID to go along with it. That makes sense. Okay, here we are with the follow alert that we made tonight. There's still some things to work out for sure, but this is the follow alert that we made. That's pretty fucking crazy, is it not? For a follow alert? I mean, that's pretty fucking hilarious if you ask me. Alright, and there's also... we made this last week. I streamed the making of this last week, which is also pretty fun. Doing all the animations and the timing of it all. I did most of it off stream. I did a good part of it off stream, though. If you're familiar with Overwatch, you recognize this immediately. This is Zenyatta. This Discord orb goes one way. Harmony goes the other. Yeah. Yeah, stuff like this. My plan is to stream every Friday for like, 4 or 5 hours. Stream HTML, CSS, and maybe some games depending on what's happening at the time. I think like 2 weeks ago I did some I did the Crash Bandicoot remake. I actually just bought Kingdom Hearts remix and all that bullshit, so I kind of wanted to play through the first one because I never really did. Yeah, I plan on streaming that stuff at some point. But yeah, if you enjoyed what you kind of saw here with the me teaching, if you have any more questions, feel free to email me, thelanzolini@gmail.com, or say it in chat, whatever you want. I'm going to be doing next stream. I'm going to be working more on these alert stuff, probably making some more custom alerts, and then after that, maybe some more basic HTML, CSS stuff, because our little shitty website here doesn't have enough, I don't think. I think this needs more to demonstrate what's happening between multiple things, inheritance. We didn't really talk too much about hierarchical selectors, because, you know, there's things like, you know, dot this thing, that thing. You can also add as many as you want in here. We didn't talk about attribute selection, which is like, you know, doing brackets and saying like href equals $sign equals this. You know, there's a whole bunch of other shit you could be possibly doing to select things in CSS. So we barely scratched the surface. So there's a lot of stuff left to do. But if you enjoyed what you saw tonight, I mean, hit that follow button. I sure appreciate it. I'm sorry I fucked up with my alerts, so they actually don't show up if you followed. But if you do follow, I thank you very much. And I will see you next stream. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Again, any questions? thelanzolini@gmail.com, or go to lanzo.space, and all the information you could probably need is there. Other than that, have a good night, guys. It was fun streaming with you. See ya.